Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name is Bobby. Guys, absolutely amazing reporting today by gbnews.com. They're talking about a horrific matchmaking site that is allegedly offering virgin brides to Muslim men. Yeah, this doesn't sound like a sensationalized headline at all. Guys, before we jump into the video, as always, if you enjoy my content, leave me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, check out the links in the description box below to further support my work, and check out my new ebook, The Return, where I talk about my journey to Islam. Alright, and now with no further ado, let's have a look.
A British website is openly advertising virgin Muslim brides here in Britain, and the details are going to make your toes curl.
Horrific.
This sick and twisted website, aimed at mostly Muslim men, doesn't just promote polygamy, which is of course illegal in Britain. It openly advises men on how to strike their wives for disobedience, citing Islamic religious scripture as the justification. There are multiple videos on this platform detailing about what I'm going to share with you, but I have decided not to air them, simply because they are just too vulgar. This website is offering men the chance to find shy, untouched women under 35 as first wives. So, if you're not a virgin, if you're divorced, if you're over 35, you're branded low quality. Your only hope, they say, is to share a husband. Well, the website also provides advice to these men on how to avoid registering marriages, dodging the law, and denying women their rights. In my very strong opinion, this isn't just misogyny. It's religious misogyny, dressed up as tradition and marketed as core Islamic values. It is an attack on women's dignity, British values, and clearly the rule of law in this country.
Yeah, cool story, bro. Where's the page? He could have linked the page. He could have said, viewer discretion is advised. On your own risk, if you really want to see it, the page has been linked in the description box. There is no such page at all being linked. Moreover, the examples are way too vulgar, way too graphic, and therefore he doesn't show them. So therefore he doesn't produce any evidence whatsoever. He doesn't show you anything at all. He simply makes the claim that there is a homepage, a Muslim homepage, allegedly, advertising for virgin women. Okay, what is wrong with that? From the standpoint of Christianity, and Britain, last time I checked, was a Christian nation, anything before marriage, any sexual encounter before marriage would be considered adultery. And therefore, traditionally, Christians married virgins as well, on both ends, right? Men and women would enter into marriage as virgins. Why is that now reprehensive? This is really the Overton window. Out of a sudden, being a virgin or wanting a virgin for your marriage is something horrific. Can you see this? He's writing a horrific matchmaking site exposed. So now in the West, it became horrific that you want a virgin as a wife. Somehow this is reprehensive. This is absolutely horrible. What is really bad about this? Matter of fact, if you look into studies, pair bonding decreases with increase of sexual partners. There's certain statistics out, and I wouldn't take them at face value. The numbers are still coming in. There are many different studies and surveys being done on this topic right now because it's still a very recent phenomenon, of course. We haven't seen this before. However, the numbers that we have right now state that if the woman truly was a virgin, it is very unlikely. A maximum of 20% roughly for the marriage to end up in a divorce. However, if she had only one partner, that number increased already to 40 or even 50%. And anything beyond 5 sexual partners essentially dooms the marriage. The statistics are around about 80 to 90% of divorce rates then. So therefore you can see that women that are promiscuous, women that had multiple sexual partners, it not only decreases their value on the sexual marketplace, which is of course a fact. I mean, if you're a man and you are under 6 foot, it decreases your sexual market value as well. If you're a man and you're not making 6 figures, it decreases your sexual market value as well. So of course there's certain parameters. If you're a good-looking person, your sexual market value is higher than that of a not so good-looking person. This is just human biology and attraction 101. However, biologically speaking, not only the attraction is the issue here, but the sustainability of the marriage. And therefore you would make a very smart bet to say, hey, I'd rather marry a virgin because it's much more likely that this woman will stay with me for life. Aside from that, he mentioned polygyny. Yet again, we don't have any proof for this, of course. We simply have to take his words for it, and we have to say, yes, this page truly advertised for polygyny in Britain, We cannot possibly know that. But let's just take it as a fact and pretend, yes, this is really what it is. There's really a page and they're advertising for polygyny in Britain. Yeah, well, listen, you already have polygyny in Britain. Not under the marriage umbrella, but men have multiple women. They call them side chicks, affairs, and whatnot, right? Even your presidents had side chicks and affairs and all kinds of different acquaintances throughout history. So this is nothing new at all. And matter of fact, in Islam, yes, it is legal to marry multiple women. However, of course, under the British law, it would be not legal to have multiple marriage contracts, I understand. But technically speaking, who is stopping you from having a religious ceremony and simply having then, under the British rule set, 4 girlfriends? Nothing, because it's completely legal and legitimate in Britain to have 4 girlfriends. Matter of fact, you can be a playboy. You can have 10 girlfriends, 20 girlfriends, or no girlfriends at all. You can be a swinger if you want to. So nobody's stopping you from such practices. However, when it comes down to Muslims actually wanting to marry 4 wives, now it becomes misogyny. Why is that so? Just because those women then are not engaged in further promiscuity, this makes it misogynistic. We have to be swingers in order to be moral under the Western code. What is this? This is absolutely ridiculous, of course, as Western news always are. Alright guys, but this is it for today's video. If you liked it, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, check out the links in the description box below to further support my work, check out my new ebook as well, The Return, and as always, may God bless you all, much love and peace.
يا نفس إن لم تظفري لا تجزعي